Hey everyone, this is Mateo. I'm the community manager here at Verto Education, and I'm joined today by Dr. James Lorello.
Hey everybody, I'm James Lorello, your Dean of Students here at Verto Education.
We're in conversation today to share some insights about the Verto community. What makes student life so special here at Verto? What is self-authorship? And who is our Dean of Students? So stick around to hear the recording, or you can read an abridged version of this conversation in this blog below. Thanks for your interest in our community. So first, what's your background? What has it been like working at Verto as the Dean of Students?
Sure. Let's see. My background has always been in higher education. So I grew up in Pennsylvania in the Poconos and was born in Queens, New York. And I made my way to Florida in the middle of high school, which was a really hard transition. Your junior year of high school, not fun. And I ended up going to the University of South Florida for undergrad. I failed Chem 2 and I was taking bio at the same time, and I realized I needed a change from pre-medical sciences to religious studies and anthropology. So that's what I did, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I changed to becoming a resident assistant at the university. I had done that for a semester and I got really into it. My supervisor was like, "Hey, you can go to grad school for this." So I did. I ended up going to Appalachian State University for grad school and got my master's in college student development, kind of like counseling for college students. And since then, I've always worked in sort of housing, like as a residence director or in a dean of students office as a case manager, and worked my way up through kind of student conduct, conflict resolution. I got my doctorate in 2019 at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, one of our newest partners. And then I was at UNC Charlotte as Associate Dean of Students over the Office of Conflict Resolution. Um, and saw Verto and thought this was such a cool program that I would have the opportunity to kind of build student life from the ground up, which is something I kind of dreamed about doing. I always wanted to be a dean of students, still want to be, like a vice president, maybe even a president of a university one day. But as Verto Dean of Students, I've had a lot of fun in my year and a half. So I started in March of 2022. And it's been awesome since then. We got to sort of redevelop student life, all the Verto discovery stuff. All of that's been really fun. I think next I want to continue to connect with students more and figure out what it looks like to be a dean of students at a global organization across the world. So it's been exciting and a lot of fun and great to watch students grow while they're with us.
All right. And how does student life at Verto differ from other college experiences?
Yeah, student life is really one of a kind here. It's much more intentional than you're going to find at a regular university, a regular college, for instance, even other study abroad programs. I mean, we've developed it from the ground up with the theory of self-authorship in mind, which is to say how folks are going to develop along their journey. And with that, it's just something that doesn't exist. We also provide just such a different level of support with our care teams in which you get personalized support among a team that hopefully becomes your little group while you're abroad. When you're among 100 plus students at a site, you are among 30 35 students or so, and that becomes a bit of a little team that you're a part of, almost like a Harry Potter house. I like to talk about them as if they were. And so you're not going to get that kind of level of support at university, especially in your first semester of college. You really have to figure out a lot more things on your own, and there's not the same sort of intention setting that takes place for your growth, like trying to develop you over time, is that you figure out what in the world do you want to do with your life. You don't have to have it all figured out when you get to Verto, and that's what we're kind of here for, is to allow you to have these experiences abroad that hopefully change the way you think about the world and the way you think about yourself.
Okay. And you said at the beginning, you mentioned self-authorship theory. I keep hearing that. What is self-authorship theory and why is Verto obsessed with it?
Yeah, so self-authorship theory is this theory that you would learn about in grad school. It was one of the first theories I learned about in my grad program for student affairs and college students, understanding college students. And it's by this professor and faculty member, Marsha Baxter Magolda, and she developed it in the early 2000s. Really, is when a lot of literature came out about it. But basically, it says that adult learners, in particular college students, go through several phases of development. And in order for that development to occur, you have to have certain experiences over time. So you might start, as many of you might think, or as I did myself, where in high school and around that time, you often are always looking for what the answer is from your parents, perhaps, or from a faculty member or a teacher. You always think they have the right answer. And then slowly that changes, and you realize that the world isn't what you thought it was. And so self authorship theory is about you progressing through that and figuring out, okay, who am I within this world around me? How do I make relationships in the world around me? And then what do I do with that? So, the last phase of self-authorship theory is really hard to attain. It's one that I probably am not even at, where you're fully self-authored. I know, exactly what I'm doing. I'm focused on my values every time I do them. And that's that's not going to happen in 3 months to a year at Verto, but the goal is to get you on the path of self-authorship. So why is Verto obsessed with it? Because it really brings meaning into the work that we're doing with folks. This is something that would naturally occur, developing your own self-authorship by taking a trip abroad, for instance, or going into a culture that's different from your own. You're naturally going to have experiences that are going to change the way you view the world. But at Verto, what we're trying to do is make that more intentional, speed up the growth a little bit so that you can really reflect on your experiences a bit more than you would somewhere else.
Yeah, that's great. And it sounds like this path to self-authorship starts as soon as a student joins our community, as soon as they deposit. So how do students engage and connect with one another before even going abroad, understanding that some students join our community months in advance and they're preparing for the experience?
Yeah, for sure. It does start the the second that you say I'm coming to Verto. And how you engage is it's about what you put in also, right? We're going to have resources, we're going to have activities. You're going to hear a lot from Mateo about exciting experiences from your onboarding advisors, and then it's up to you to engage in that and work with that material, to connect with one another before you go abroad. So there's going to be different events. You'll be able to connect among campus groups and get to know different people from around the world. Many people, I think that you might see other blogs even where it's other students who met each other in pre-departure and then ended up going to the same site and being roommates and that sort of thing. So yeah, we're going to create intentional space for you to do this, and the hope is that you take that and run with it. And it doesn't have to be, what we create either. It may be that Mateo sets up something on campus groups and you make a connection with folks, and then you get a group chat going. That's also a great connection and a way for you to get to know each other before going abroad. But hopefully, we're able to inspire that.
All right. So talk to me a little bit more about some of the rituals in the Verto community. What are some of the events or activities that have become important and a part of being a member of our Verto community?
Yeah, for sure. So you'll keep hearing more about this throughout your journey, but we really like to talk about the journey of coming to Verto as writing your own story, as putting together the chapters of your own book. And so, this begins in pre-departure orientation, where you're better understanding why you're taking this trip abroad, what you're doing, what are the resources you need to do this. And then from there, when you get on site, there's going to be what's called Discovery Week. And during that period of time is when you're doing basically an on-site orientation where you're getting to know the location, you're getting to learn about your care teams and meeting other students across the site. And so you start to do some of that work. One of the first, activities that you'll do at your site is a letter to yourself that you'll be able to open and read at the end of the semester, where you write to yourself and the person you want to be at the end of the semester. Then you'll get to see that over time. And that starts, like I said, from Discovery Week. We also have our Wellness Week, which occurs each semester. Some sites turn it into even a month, depending on how it's going. And this is to help you kind of focus on midterms and reset during that mid-semester funk that folks might get into. You're also going to have Discovery Circles, which are going to be care team circles that you have with those other students that you talked about, where you're going to meet weekly, at least for the first 6 weeks, to get to know those folks, do different activities that are meant to kind of help you on your journey, right? One of them will be about homesickness, for instance, because that's something that folks will experience in the first few weeks. So we've got a lot of these rituals all themed around this idea of writing your own story. and we try to intentionally use that language. You'll have one-on-ones with your academic success coordinators and student life coordinators, and those we call bookmarks, because they're meant to be check-ins along the way during your journey. So those will continue to grow, and we'd love to see what you also contribute, part of creating that culture, and of discovery, and that culture of self-authorship is for you all to contribute and provide different activities yourselves, including clubs and organizations that you might lead, starting with a club council over the summer that Mateo leads, and then what you end up doing when you come on site, whether that's a Dungeons and Dragons club or a cooking club. It could be anything.
Yeah, the sky's the limit. That sounds really awesome. So tell us a little bit about some examples you've seen of students growing through self-authorship.
Yeah, for sure. Um, there's so many that happen each semester, and I'm sure there's even ones that we don't know the story of. One of my favorites was a parent that I connected with on my first semester in Costa Rica. His daughter was in Costa Rica, and I remember he came to Costa Rica with her. He was nervous. She was nervous. They came together to kind of do the whole move-in process, like it was traditional university, and I remember that moment, and he was really nervous when he left. There was a lot of tears when he left, and he wasn't sure that that she would make it. She was somebody who didn't do wasn't a straight A student in high school, right? And was really hoping that doing this study abroad experience with Verto would help them grow and find themselves and become a better academic student and a better person overall. And of course, there were some struggles in the beginning, but they finished the first semester, and lo and behold, they went to another semester. They went from Costa Rica, and then they went to Spain for the spring semester. And we sent out our last family newsletter at the end of the spring semester, and this dad had emailed me and said, "I just wanted to tell you, what a great experience it was," um, and went on about, how she went from sort of a 2.5 GPA to above a 3.0 at the end, and how she now wanted to even maybe go to college abroad, and she wasn't sure what she wanted to do before then, but that's what she kind of was thinking, and she had a better sense of what she wanted to do and where she wanted to go, to school back home, those sorts of things. She had more of a formulated plan um, in coming with Verto. And so we exchanged text messages, and he sent me some great pictures of even when his last day that he was with her in Costa Rica compared to, the next year. And he said the best quote from him was that she's a different person entirely. She's not the same person that I dropped off in a good way in August of that year.
Yeah, it sounds like this path to self-authorship impacts others as well. As students change, they also influence their family members. They go off to influence their campuses. It has sort of a ripple effect, which is cool because it's not just about self-authorship. It's about preparing students to be fully realized selves, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, let's go back to step one. What advice do you have to a student who wants to make the most of their experience abroad?
Yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing I would say is to just take advantage of those opportunities while you're getting to do this. It's so unique that you get to. And so taking advantage of the activities, the excursions, the opportunities that you're going to get while you're abroad are just really important. Soak it in, engage in it, and don't miss the chance for reflection, that it goes by too fast and you're taking too many pictures and videos. You want those to remember, but remember also to just kind of be in the moment, and enjoy the experience that will be, a once in a lifetime thing, and make those connections with the people around you, because the way that you develop community is going to stick with you for the rest of your life. So make the most of it, and the way that you do that is by taking the opportunities when they come.
All right. Well, thanks, James, for sharing your perspective about our community, student life, discovery, self-authorship. This is all really exciting, and we hope that we'll see many of you at an upcoming event as part of our community. So thanks for joining our Verto community.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.